Quaint Christmas villages are a collector's item, but don't let the price tag stop you. Let it inspire you. Jennifer Reed joins me with how to build a collection of paper houses for yourself, for your home, for your family. It's so great to have you.
Good to see you.
We're all doing a heart sigh when we see your display today. And I was just saying to my friend and producer Stephanie the other day that my mom used to build a Hallmark village and every year add on a new piece. And I suddenly this week felt like panicked. I need something like that. I need a collectible to start building in my home.
Yeah, and I think it can become a great tradition too. Like I think a lot of Christmas villages and people's homes are traditions. And I was just saying, I have a friend who was kind of ready to like get rid of her Christmas village, and her kids were like, no, that's our most favorite decoration.
Yes.
They love it so much.
Jen and I were joking too during the commercial break, if your own Christmas house is falling around, falling to pieces behind you, at least you can look at this Christmas house and feel like everything's perfect and sparkly and magical, right?
That's
right. So we
right.
really can make these ourselves?
Yeah. So I think villages are kind of a tradition, right? And so there's like a lot of different inspiration that you can get from different villages.
And before we get into the how-to, from a collector's perspective, these can be pricey. Yeah,
they definitely can. I mean, when you think of like Christmas villages, I think one of the things, the first ones that come to mind is Department 56. And a lot of people collect Department 56. And those are just really beautiful. And I used to think like, oh, maybe grandma's collected them, but they are still highly collectible today.
Really?
Yeah, you can go on and you can get them on eBay. You can buy them on their website. And a lot of people, buy pieces every year and add to their collection. So that's like a really great little village that you can collect.
You're a vintage expert. Let me tap into your expertise. Where did this idea come from? What's the history?
Yeah, well, okay, so Christmas villages have been around for like hundreds of years. Like when they first came out of Germany, like, all the Christmas stuff came out of Germany, Christmas trees came out of Germany, and actually these little villages kind of came out of Germany too. And so they've been around for a long time, but I think like in the last like 60, 70 years, people have started to make them. They've become collectible. So I have my own little collection.
Let's look at this, can we?
Yeah. So these are collectible. They're called putz houses.
Okay.
And the reason they're called putz houses is because the moms or the females of the house would put them out and they would putz with them. They would move them around and putz with them. And so that's what they're called. And so
putz houses.
Yeah, and most of these are out of Japan. They were made right after World War II. And these are really highly collectible vintage Christmas villages.
How long, Jen, has it taken you to build this collection?
You know what? A little while.
She's like, well,
a little while. But they're still readily available. Like you can go and find them. I mean, we've talked a lot when we talk about vintage, how accessible it is through eBay, through Etsy, and so if you are looking to start a little collection, go on eBay and just kind of see what you can find and buy a couple of pieces, or go on Etsy, or who knows, you can still find them at even yard sales or other sales too, antique stores.
As you look at each and every one, they aren't fancy, and that's what we love the most about them.
Exactly. And the reason I love these so much is I love that they're made out of cardboard and the simplicity of them.
Yes.
And they're just like, and the different colors, they are really simple. And it looks like some of them are even a little wacky, like a bad carpenter or something.
I was going to say, that door is about to fall off its hinges. But
I know, but there's just something endearing about them that I love.
Totally
I love that
endearing.
they've survived for so long. Like a lot of these are like 60 years old.
And that glitter is hanging on.
And it's just hanging on.
Which doesn't surprise any dance mom out there who's tried to vacuum up glitter from their own carpet, right?
That is
so
true.
You mentioned the cardboard being kind of the main material, which does lend itself to a DIY creation.
For sure. And part of the inspiration for this, for these houses, was an artisan called Cody Foster, who has this huge company.
Okay.
And he makes these houses. He has his own Christmas village.
Is this a Cody Foster?
No, these are mine.
These are yours.
But they are based on a Cody Foster design.
Oh, okay.
And so I just love his houses. They're a little over the top, have lots of glitter. It's like, again, like that perfect Christmas house that you wish you had.
Totally. We're just going to pretend we live in that little chapel right in the back.
Exactly. So Cody Foster was actually my inspiration for this little project. And you can buy buy his houses again, like on Amazon, and they're highly collectible too. Like a lot of people collect
beautiful.
them. They're really gorgeous. Or you can buy them. Yeah.
But explain how you did your inspired version.
Yeah. So I thought, you know, I of course want to go more vintage when I can.
Yeah.
And you know, throughout the year, I'm always out buying at sales, and I always happen to find lots of fun little Christmas vintage things.
Look at these goodies.
And so I was like, I'm going to put my own house together with the vintage. And so so basically, I buy a house at Michael's.
Okay.
You can actually buy a set, like the big one, the small one, and the medium-sized one, really inexpensive.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, a whole set together.
Okay.
And so the house is already right there. And so then you just need to choose the colors, like what colors, you know, everyone kind of has a bit of a different Christmas palette. This one, I went more traditional with the red and green. Here we have like a little more untraditional, like pink and blue.
That's the happiest, modern, hippest Christmas house I've ever seen.
Yeah, you know, we need a little pink in here, a little pink Christmas.
I'm trying to break this down visually with my eyes. So I see the pink paint, for example, on the white roof. How did you do, though, the curtains, the shutters?
The shutters are just like scrapbook paper.
Okay.
So I just picked out, you know, you were right on. We have just that cheap paint, the dollar paint that you can get. I paint the house.
Right.
Exactly. And then I get scrapbook paper and I just cut out little shutters.
Okay.
And put them on there. And the thing about these houses is like sometimes people are like, oh, I could never do this because it's just vintage. Some of this is a mixture of vintage and new stuff.
Well, these days you can buy new that looks vintage, you know?
Yeah, you can totally do that.
So point out just a couple quickly of your favorite details on these houses.
Okay. So I, of course, like love to find always like a vintage Santa Claus, a tree, and like some kind of reindeer. And if you kind of look at all of them, they all kind of have those similar. That one has a snowman.
Yeah.
So the trees are not actually even vintage. The trees you can just get like at Michael's or a craft store, and then you can add decorations. Think small too, right? When you're looking to make one of these, you just kind of want to think of small. Like this isn't even vintage. Like it looks vintage.
It does.
But it's new. I think I got that at Michael's.
Okay.
I always love to put like a little bit of greenery around there. So if you look for like old, they call them craft picks, you know? Or you can get new ones too and use that. So it's really a mixture of the old and the new.
And I have to point out, I mean this is a compliment, but the word I'm coming to is some of these look a little sad on their own. Sorry.
No,
but when you put them together with glitter, with the whole overall design, they're magic.
They are really fun. And you want to make it, I love the glitz. And so I just take Mod Podge, I Mod Podge it all over, and then I get that fake glittery snow and go outside and just toss it on there.
I love it. Thank you for the inspiration. If you want more awesome, you know, art and design perspective from Jen and other local artisans, you're going to be at Beehive Bazaar.
Yes, yeah, we're at Beehive Bazaar, and it's next weekend, and it starts on Thursday, and it's a fun place to be.
Put it on your calendar, a great Girlfriend's Day out. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, my friend.